Close the night out right, panel at the table, in that half-dead light. Miss Robin in the middle, calling every shot, directing and producing, till the story runs hot. 1-1 from the city, badge heavy on his chest, towing that law like a wicked chain, spitting facts, no rest. Crimes after dark, we close the night out right, tear through the lies till the wrong sounds like a fight. All of the answers buried so deep out of sight. We watch the threads unravel, we watch the threads ignite. JJ in the corner, state of the deep in his head. Which lies to toss and which ones to keep instead? Dago from the cafe says forget about it, leans back, spins his thoughts like a blade cutting holes in the track. Lee at the front, head advocate, steady stare, every word like a warning, every silence a dare. All of them leaning in, clock crawling, eyes bright, every secret feels louder than the buzzing of the night. Crimes after dark, we close the night out right, tear through the lies till the wrong sounds like a fight. All of the answers buried so deep out of sight. We watch the threads unravel, we watch the threads ignite. You can bury it in paper, you can lock it in a file, but the truth bleeds through, drip by drip, tile by tile. We're dragging it to daylight, name by name, line by line. If you wrote it in the shadows, we'll read it out this time. Yeah. Crimes after dark, we close the night out right, tear through the lies till the wrong sounds like a fight. All of the answers buried so deep out of sight. We watch the threads unravel, we watch the threads ignite.
All right, welcome to another Crimes After Dark. Let's get this. It's just wait a minute. Is this a Friday night? This is a Friday night. I feel like I should have had some whatever. Anyways, it's a Friday night. I'm excited to be here. I hope you're excited to be here. Thank you for joining us on the show. We got a full panel, lots and lots of people to get on stage. So let's get people coming on up. Dago, how you doing this evening?
Wow.
It's good to see you as always.
Yeah, forget about it. So, I hope you guys parked my Escalade in the garage after all that. Didn't wiped it down, got all the rain, all water off of it, and all that. You know, I just want to make sure. And let me know when we're up for our next mod squad event that we have to. That's exactly what I was thinking of watching that. I was like, Jesus Christ, we turned into the fucking mod squad. I love it. It's amazing.
It's good. It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
It was great. That was awesome. Yeah. I loved it, Robin. Thank you. That was so entertaining. Like my wife was watching this going, oh my God, that's great. So
yeah, it's good stuff. It's
awesome
good stuff.
I loved it. Sorry for swearing so early, by the way.
That's all right.
Anyway, great job. Great to be here. Great to see you.
Yeah, it's good to have you on. Only having you on every other day or so now, it's kind of like trying to catch up on what you've done. Now we have to catch up on days worth of stuff. We'll get into that shortly. We'll get the rest of the panel up. I think we probably still have an intro monologue kind of thing for 1-1, and then we'll start talking about what's been going on for the week. We'll kind of cover what we've been doing for the week on our shows. And then we'll just play it by ear as we get into a Friday night show. What do we got for Robin? How you doing?
Hello, I'm doing well. How about you, gentlemen?
Living the dream.
Hello,
Yeah.
Mom. How are you?
Hello, hello. I'm doing fine, cheerio, and all that. Pip pip.
Yes. Great
Are
job
are
on
you
that, by the way.
Are you? Oh, thank you, thank you. That was so much fun. I love doing that shit, and I just had this whole thing in my head that, oh man, we're gonna be like freaking Mission Impossible or something. I don't know,
The
but
Mod
it was
Squad.
just
You made
fun
a
to put together.
storyboard in your mind. Yeah, a storyboard in your mind and put it
It
together.
reminded me of the Mod Squad. I was like, this is cool as shit. I loved it. It was awesome.
Very slick.
Very
Appreciate all
good.
the work
Thank
that you
you.
did and putting in the time on that. That's amazing. I love too that you can just do that while I'm working on other things, because we're you know,
Yeah.
it's like I just get there to get a surprise one night, which was very cool. So
Yeah, I was like,
thanks.
"Oh, I have it done." You're like, "What?"
Yeah, I was excited. I was like, I couldn't wait to debut it last time, and I don't think Dago had seen it because he wasn't on last night's show when
No.
we debuted it. So yeah.
That was awesome.
All right,
Yeah.
well, we'll get JJ up, and we'll leave one for last since he's usually got a monologue for us. JJ, what's going on?
What's
Hey.
up, everybody? DA, Robin, Dago, 1-1, denizens,
brother?
meatballs,
Yo.
mods. How's it going?
Good.
Good to see you.
Life is good. Good to see you as well. Yeah, like we got the full family back today, which is very, very cool. I like it when yeah, it's great when we can all be here together. So looking forward to chatting about things tonight, seeing what's on your mind, what might be have crossed your desk during the last week, and we can open forum that shit. Let's get one up, and we'll get a monologue going, and then we'll get right into the show.
All
What's
right.
going on?
Hello. I
Hello.
survived the Bronx. I survived.
Hello.
I'm here.
That's good.
You guys want to see like, what is it like? This TV detective show or police or whatever. Is it anything really like that? Yeah, just go to the Bronx right now. I left last night. They were like holding 50 all priority jobs, stabbings, robberies. It's like not like
Oh man.
multiple shots fired. It's just insane. It's
Wow.
insane.
Wow.
It's insane with me going there. I'm going there with my unit that's there, like that I'm in charge of. Like last night, so I had 4 sergeants, a lieutenant, and 26 cops. And the word is just survive and get home.
Yeah, right. I was going to say,
it's that bad.
I wanted to ask you, like, is it more like, do you feel like you just put yourself more in danger with your promotion? Like you were kind of laying low, and all of a sudden you're like in a busy, bad place.
Yes and no. I mean, really, like, so like kind of like my position, I really kind of get there after, like, in the aftermath of what has already happened. Sure, there could be an ongoing thing occurring, absolutely, like a Brian Kolpaka incident, or a barricaded person with a firearm, stuff like that. Absolutely, I could be right as that is ongoing. Of course, some of those jobs can last a while, but
Yeah.
most of the other stuff, I'm kind of like really coming in at sort of in the aftermath, making sure. Actually, one of my main functions is to make sure, as I've mentioned many times on here, how important it is as you guys are not, none of you are obviously police officers, but you guys obviously are very well in tune of keeping the integrity of a crime scene. Like you guys, I know that more than anyone. So my job is making sure when I show up, when I get there, is that the crime scene, because you always want to make the crime scene larger, and you can always make it smaller. So it's,
right.
And just making sure that the cops are doing, we're holding people, we're not allowing Dylan and Bethany and these people to congregate on the side and get their stories straight and stuff like that. Kind of like just directing, making sure that stuff is set up. That's what I'm supposed to be doing.
That's crazy. I just,
Yeah.
it's funny you mentioned like the Brent Kopacka thing. Like any one of those, a single event like a Brent Kopacka could last 8 hours. Like that stand up, that thing could tie up people for hours and hours and hours.
Sure.
Right? So and you've got that going on in multiple places, and
yeah.
Standoffs are not fun. I've sat at standoffs for almost. Well, I think the longest one was like 17 hours one time.
Oh,
just sitting there waiting. Just sitting, watching, waiting, while PD does what they got to do.
Yeah, and that's why, like, not to go into the whole thing. I know we have many things to talk about after I do the dialogue, but we do so much training. Like I said, my specialty. I'm not part of, I've never done hostage negotiation. I'm not part, but all of us, we have crisis management. It's mandatory training because you have people who are specialists, right? You have you got like the few, maybe the 2 or 3 people who are like, they're known in the department. They're like the super hostage negotiators. These guys, they can't be everywhere at every moment, as we say all the time. It's, the cop, the officer on the beat, the one that's answering the radio call, could be, 2-3 years out of the academy. They're going to be the ones that are they're responding first on scene. It's not going to be the SWAT guy, the detective that has 30 years experience. It's the new guy on, that's only been there a little bit. They're going to be first on scene. And it's a lot of responsibility. But we do so much training with crisis management, and it really was like hurtful. Just, again, like, I make jokes of it, but it's almost not funny. Brent, pick up the phone, I seriously, I get nightmares over it. I mean, it bothers me.
Right.
Pick up the phone.
We watched so much of that. Yeah.
I think I heard that in my head for 3 days after the fact. I swear to God, I did. I just be walking around thinking like, Brent, pick up the goddamn phone already. Come on,
Yeah.
That's the thing of watching body camera footage. Yeah, let's get the.
I'll get us off. All right, Juliana Jackson, beautiful wife, love you guys always. Is it good to be alive in the den on a Friday night? Here we go.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Most people think cases end when the headlines stop. They don't. They just go quiet. And in that silence, details don't disappear. They settle. They wait. Waiting for someone to notice what doesn't fit. Tonight, we don't just listen to the story, we listen to what was left out. This is Devil's Advocates, and these are the files that never stop breathing. A house in Moscow, Idaho, 4 lives, cut off in the middle of the night. No warning, no mercy, just a timeline that feels too clean. The case of Brian Koberger, where movements are tracked, seconds are accounted for, and yet something still doesn't settle. Because sometimes when everything looks aligned, that's exactly when you should look closer. A trail in Delphi, Indiana. 2 girls, 1 recording, a voice that refuses to fade down the hill. The case of Richard Allen, a conviction that answered questions but created doubt. Because closure and truth are not the same thing. And then there are the ones that stretch across years along the coastlines of New York. The investigation into Rex Huerman doesn't just ask who, but asks something worse. How long did no one see it? Or maybe how long did no one want to see it? And then there are the names that don't echo loud enough. Names like Tyler Robinson, cases that flicker, then vanish. But disappearing attention doesn't mean disappearing truth. It just means fewer people are looking. And in Letcher County, Kentucky, power doesn't just exist, it protects itself. The case surrounding Mickey Steins and Kevin Mullins, where lines between law and loyalty start to disappear. Different cases, different victims, different places, same feeling. Something is off. We're not here to give you comfort, and we're here to question everything. Because the truth doesn't vanish, it gets buried. But buried truth never stays buried forever. I'm one of your hosts, and tonight we open the files. Devil's Advocates, where the story doesn't end until the truth runs out. And with that, live from New York, it's Friday.
All right, thank you so much. Welcome everybody to another Friday night. Are you tipping any tonight, JJ? Sometimes on a Friday night, you're kind of like relaxed mode. I don't see you.
Oh, I am.
We got one one's like after the Bronx, I'm taking a drink.
I
Got your coffee mugs there, Dago.
Glenfiddich, I got my strong whiskey.
I saw you like throwing around a lightsaber or something backstage when you were. What the hell was going on there? Oh yeah. Is that an adult toy or is that a what is
It is not an adult toy. It is a child's toy.
Oh, okay, fair. That's the completely opposite direction.
Yeah, it's definitely not what you probably thought. And if this was one of them,
Oh boy,
doing all that, like, I think I need some counseling, buddy. If I'm sitting back there playing lightsabers with a fucking dildo, I'm just saying. That's all. I mean, I'm a little detached, but I don't think I'm quite that detached at this point. Not quite yet, but
one had to go off camera. I think.
Do I need to? Yeah, I can call your wife one and have her do the CPR over the phone if you want, buddy. I think he just fell the fuck out.
Well, that was special. That was special. Thank you very much for your
Welcome
good
to
way
tonight.
to start off the night. What the hell?
Welcome to Devil's Advocates, everybody.
Yeah, welcome on in.
Wow.
No, this is my granddaughter. I think it came from like a festival or something. It's like a mini pool noodle type thing, and it lights up and changes colors. And
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
it just reminded me of a lightsaber. It definitely did not remind me of what you were thinking, though. As I was sitting there playing, like, Luke, I'm not your father with it, you know?
Yeah, that's why I thought it was a lightsaber at first. Yeah, at first. I thought it was
I think one of you guys needs to check on him to make sure he's good. He said he can't come on screen. He's not.
Wow. I think he literally spewed something out of his nose.
I almost did. Okay, who clipped all of that? I want to know who clipped all that.
I'm sure Amanda did.
Amanda, are you on it? Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
She's collecting. She's collecting our bloopers to do a gag reel at the end of the year. So, yep. I asked her.
Do
So
you have a defibrillator? One.
Do you have a defibrillator?
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Did anybody see the Jack Showalter interview that some people have talked about? I wondered if any of the panel have you watched that. Can you guys fill me in on that? Because I haven't seen it yet. But
I started to, but it's got the audio quality is a little rough, and it's it's not Lana's fault. But I didn't get a chance to watch the whole thing, so no.
Was that a Lana exclusive? Did she get that from a public records, or was somebody else posted it and she was just commenting on it?
I believe she got it from a FOIA request or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Public records request.
I think she's doing a part 2, right? Part 1 and a part 2. Yeah.
Yeah, that was part 1.
Is
and
tonight
she'll probably
part
try
2?
to clean that up in audio. I don't think so. I think she was waiting on part 2 still.
Yeah, this I didn't know how to read this. Amy Gray says the Jack Showalter interview was interesting. They told him there was a struggle November 16th, the same day of the press conference, where they said everyone was sleeping. They never got called out for it. So I'm trying to understand what you're saying. I think what you're saying is on the 16th, when they were giving their first press conference, they said something about there being a struggle that night, even though they had originally said everybody was sleeping. Is that what you're saying?
That's how I was told that. I didn't see it, but I was told that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even know how. you know, in retrospect, it's hard for us to accept the narrative that they ever at one point said everybody was asleep in the house, because it seems like we've so long now known that was bullshit. Like we've so long know that people were fighting back and fighting for their lives and stuff like that. That the whole they were all asleep. But that's what they told us. Like it seemed like in the early stages, that's what they told us. Everybody was asleep. Somebody came in and wiped everybody out in the house that was sleeping.
Yeah, there's a new Connor has a new interview too.
Yeah, there's another one with Connor.
Drew Carter. I didn't see it yet.
This is like this is one of the last of the Sigma Chi boys. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Sigma. It's another Sigma Chi member. Yeah.
Sky Blue wants to know who did the intro. That was like I think almost 100% Robin on screen here. She put that together for us with the combination. Yep. Well, so let's make sure we break it down. The song was from Dago. The video sizzle reel elements put together to the song was Robin. So it was kind of a collaborative effort in that regards. But
all I did was make a song. Robin did all that, guys. She did it all herself.
Well, thank you. And
I felt like I was watching a movie.
Well, that was the idea. I have another one in the works. So
it was badass.
But yep. So
Amy Gray.
Now I want you to start getting in your cop car that way.
I'm gonna do a spinning jump into your cop car.
Bro, the only problem is that I only really use an unmarked now, but
right,
Well, either way, it doesn't matter. Keep in shape.
You have to jump in it ass first. Remember that.
Right.
I want to do the going from my passenger side, sliding across the hood of my car on the ass to jump into the car. I tried to pull that off, but I just
can do that. I can have it do.
Yeah, I did that one. You know, I'll just tell you, I was still drinking.
Well. Yeah.
All the 70s cop movies, they slid across the hood.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I thought I was
the Dukes of Hazzard.
Starsky and Hutch. Hazard, right?
That's what I was thinking. It's the Dukes of Hazzard thing. Yeah.
Starsky and Hutch.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's how you know that they're serious. Okay, hold on.
I thought I was Starsky and Hutch until the drink kicked in as I was sliding across the hood, and then I went over face first and hit the conch on my face. So it didn't work out so well that point. So yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. So. First of all, Moto Max, thank you so
Moto.
much for that. Thank you for supporting the channels. And yeah, so the comment was made. It sounded like on the Jack Showalter thing, they told Jack Showalter there was a struggle while simultaneously telling the public that everybody was asleep. And sounds like Moto is saying, well, maybe they were trying to get Jack Showalter to trip up about something, telling him a detail that, whatever, to see if he would say, oh yeah, I don't know. So yeah, it's hard to say in context. I have to be able to put it together. Yeah.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate the support very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
It would be good thought, as to maybe we can trap him into saying something by saying there was a struggle, I guess,
Yeah.
Or see his reaction,
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, to test him.
He was definitely a person of interest for a while in the beginning, so that would make some sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, and so and that's something we got to keep in mind. And Amanda's asking if we play the sizzle at the end. We can consider playing the sizzle on the way out. Yeah, we can consider doing that. That's another thing to keep in mind. It's not uncommon for law enforcement to mislead the public on purpose during press releases because they want to withhold things, or they want to see, like if they're still investigating a certain lead, they might put false information out. That it's not illegal for them to lie. Essentially, the nice way to say it is it's not illegal for them to lie to the public and tell them details about the case that they know aren't true, if they have an ulterior motive of trying to make somebody lower their guard or to get somebody to trip up on something that they heard on the news. So it sucks when they're legally allowed to lie to the public during a press conference, because then you don't know, are you just telling us that because that's the fake story you're going with, when it's not? And like, you don't know what you can trust when you see press conferences. But
yeah. I wish they did.
Xana tripped and fell and landed under Ethan's fingernails.
Yeah. How does that work?
Yeah, like there's, we had heard, I just recently was talking about that to somebody, about how Xana had, now you guys correct my memory if I get this wrong, but Xana had DNA under her fingernails that was excluded of being Brian Koberger's, right?
You can't leave it there. You have to put We have to put your clothes.
I thought he was talking to me for a minute there. I muted one.
Yeah, I was like,
I think he had a live mic in his room. Anyways, I thought he was talking to me. But anyways, so yeah, she had DNA under her fingernails, which was excluded of being Brian Koberger. I think it was also not Ethan's. I think what they said was, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the DNA was not Caucasian and not African American, but some other nationality, which led to questions. Do you guys remember that at all? That discussion about the DNA being non-Caucasian, non-African American, but another nationality, and it led to
came around to be possibly Native American or something, wasn't it?
Right. Yes. And so I was recently digging through that with somebody again. And if it was Native American, then that there are individuals, or at least one individual that has Native American descent that people have started to say is involved in the crime. So it makes you wonder. But the most important $1 million question is, it wasn't Ethan's, from what I understand. Yes, Mowich, Nicholas Mowich has Native American ancestry. Yes. So, so the question becomes, if it's not Ethan's and it's not Koberger's, it seems like a big question, right? It seems like a big question to just not answer. Oh, well, she had some male DNA. I don't even know. Did they prove it was male? That's the other thing. Did they prove it was male, or did they just do the?
I didn't hear anything about male or female, but I heard the whole thing with the hair.
Yeah, right. It leads to a lot of questions like, well, then are we all going to care how she got somebody else's DNA under her fingernails? Like, nobody does anybody give a shit to answer that question? Like, it just seems like a big question.
Well, Lucy said, "I'm confused. Isn't that Maddie's?"
No. Oh, you mean under Maddie's fingernails? No, Xanda's fingernails, from what I remember. And I think he's also.
Sutton said Xana's blood was under Ethan's nails, and Ethan's was under Xana's. Yeah. And then I'm lost on what Lucy's statement was about. Hold on, let me try to go backwards and see. Oh, okay, Michelle. Thank you. I'm sorry if I gave you a wrong name on that. I thought number 9 was Jack Katovich. That's what I was told for years. My apologies. Pretty sure it was.
There's a lot in this case to keep track of. That's for damn sure.
Well, and the worst part about it is that the evidence keeps changing. So it's not like it's consistent. That's the other problem.
Yeah, and we are all. Every one of us in here is trying to keep on straightforward with the information. So yes,
right.
We can't be wrong, and hopefully we're not. But when we are, we try to find the right. So
yes.
Yeah. And then somebody had responded, well, Ethan and Xana were dating, so of course their DNA is going to be under each's fingernails. That's exactly the problem. It wasn't Ethan's DNA underneath her fingernails. So if you want to do the whole, well, they're dating, of course it would be. It wasn't Ethan. It wasn't Koberger, and it wasn't Ethan. So then it begs the question, who was it? Now, granted, we get DNA on us probably from people all the time. That's one of the problems in this case in the first place, is DNA is all over the place. Your skin cells are blowing in the wind, and your DNA is all over the place. But, so could there be other answers for how a male's or whatever somebody's DNA got under there? Sure. But it seems like it would have been a good question to have asked. Oh yeah, I have one muted still. We probably don't have to keep it muted unless I open it up right when he's having a private conversation. That would suck. Of course, he should be able to unmute himself, right? So one, you should unmute yourself.
Yes, he should. Yeah.
And then one thing too, as far as DNA, I mean, they were all out partying.
Yeah.
And people shake hands, they hug people, they whatever. It's tough to really think of it unless it's obviously coming from a struggle, where it's like scratches on somebody's skin where it's got skin and blood under their fingernails. I don't. Did we ever? I can't remember if they.
Well, extraterrestrial highway is questioning whether I got the right person, the right victim who had the right DNA under their nails. So let me see if we can figure that out.
Because I can't remember the reports. I know that I had seen the reports about the different DNA samples. I can't remember if there was blood or it was like skin cells or what. There's been so much stuff that's come out, I can't remember it all.
Thank you, Kat. Very much appreciated.
I muted myself so you wouldn't hear my keyboard clicking, and then everybody went silent. So you guys got to cover my cover me when I go silent.
Thank you, Miss Kat. God bless. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
So let me ask you guys this. All right, we all know
No,
about the
Absolutely
Mowich.
not. No, nope. You can't do it,
Huh?
JJ. I know what you're gonna do.
What?
I'm using this CIA mind control shit. I know what you're gonna do.
Yeah, okay, all right. So why don't you ask everybody?
Oh shit, I was wrong. Okay, go ahead.
All right.
I was going to
Just
say,
kidding.
we all know about the Mowich theory, and Pob was big on that, and that, and it's like, I mean, there is logic to it. To follow that thread, to pull on that thread. But I keep coming back to why would law enforcement not want to really investigate that stuff?
Right.
That's
Because
yeah, that's a great. Well, there's only really one reason it would be, I would think.
Because he died.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I would go to, and DA has we talked about this, that's a suspect dying. But it's like, with that type of a thing, for all of them to be in collusion, it's pretty crazy, right? Because just like people always say, oh, like if someone in the frats did it, someone would talk at some point, someone would break. But to have something like that on a major high profile murder case to be swept under the rug, and I don't think I haven't seen anything that points to them in really investigating Mowich. Was there any follow-up done on that?
I never
No.
saw
Well,
anything
Not
about
as
him.
far as we know. All we had is that
No.
they sent his DNA. His DNA.
Right.
was-
They collected his buccal swab. So they were and to do that, you would suggest that they're going to be testing his DNA against samples in the house. So that's the only indication that they had any suspicion of him, because why would you take his DNA swab unless you're going to use it as a reference sample?
But
that's
as
why
a-
I could never stick to him for anything, Lee. Like
Right.
you had said
But we
this
haven't
before.
seen
There was
anything.
never
Right.
any
He doesn't show up.
anything. Yeah.
He doesn't
Right.
show up in any.
No.
He hasn't shown up in any report or anything.
No.
That was my issue.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Yep.
But then again, also in the going by the reports, I mean, Kopaka really hasn't shown up either. But Judge did say his name.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's a little different. But Mowich, we haven't seen. He hasn't come up in anything. Like not even.
No.
Not even like anyone asking on him. Nothing.
No.
To logic it out, it sounded like the hospital suspected the hospital. Somebody called in from the hospital with his injuries, saying that his injuries made them think that it could have been related to the murders in Idaho.
Well,
so they were suspicious because of the injuries, and they called it in.
Well,
so at that point,
yeah.
law enforcement was kind of forced to follow up on it, right? And so maybe they took the
it's not even
buccal
just
swab
Idaho,
as a
though.
just in case there ever is a reason to look into him. At least we said we did it.
Right.
So maybe it just got taken and put into a locker and never looked at again because they had no other reason to look at him. So they're just like, well, we got his swab in case it ever comes up. But
The other
that's a
problem,
normal
though,
thing. That's a normal thing, though. That's not even.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be about Idaho 4. That stuff happens all the time from hospitals. Like someone
It
comes
does.
in,
And
they're-
the other
like,
problem,
and
though-
they're mandated. They're mandated to report certain things. So.
Right.
the other problem though was that his injuries didn't match that of somebody that
That
had
was
been in a
huge.
car accident. That was a
Yes.
big deal. That's a big
That was
problem.
the red
Yes.
flag, right.
I want
That was
to
a huge-
answer.
yeah.
I want to answer Crime and Chaos's question because it's a lengthy answer for me. Why would they need a fall guy if the actual killers are dead? And I'll tell you the answer is twofold. One is there's not money in prosecuting a cold case thing where people is already dead. There's money involved in going after a living suspect. So it's more lucrative to go after an arrest and a conviction, and it's more high profile if you got somebody alive as opposed to going after somebody who's already dead and there's nobody to hold accountable for it because they're already dead. That's number one. But number two, and perhaps more likely in this case, is because revealing who actually was involved with the murders could be a huge embarrassment to the university and to Moscow Police Department. And so to the real suggestion is there a cover-up happening because they don't want you to know who really did the murders, because that would then lead to other questions. Well, wait a minute. If that's the case, then why is this? And then you get to the questions that they don't want to answer. So by covering up who may have actually done it, they could be trying to hide a bigger issue that they don't want you going down the rabbit hole. But
Right. So
Well, and another reason could also be they needed to make sure everybody felt safe. And you can't, you know, they wanted to make sure that they got someone to make it look like, you know, they did their job and now everything was safe, because as we all know, the university, you know, a lot of it leads back to money, like you're saying.
definitely.
So,
And they're trying to cover up some kind of police involvement, whatever it is,
Right.
whatever the threat
whatever
is,
that
whether
is,
it's,
yep.
whether
Can I?
someone had a, you know, relationship with Kaylee or one of the girls, or it's something else, they're covering up some kind of police involvement. There's no question in that to me.
Well, one of the things that I sort of believe, and I've talked about many times, if there were already operations going on to implement more surveillance and, you know, whether it be geofencing or, you know, predictive measures, because that stuff's everywhere now. And if they were already doing that in that area, and that house, let's say, was let's just say that house was part of an operation to begin with. If you have a guy that's dead and you found him through the means with which they would have found him, he died, and they got his DNA, you know, at the hospital or whatever, then they wouldn't be able to showcase all these other aspects, like, oh, we use cell phone data, or even if that, you know, like I believe about Koberger, I think he was there to facilitate that, in my opinion. He was there so they could run a certain narrative, because I believe that there was something already happening in that area, and I think that house was connected to it. So if you have a bigger agenda that you're trying to push, if the way in which you prosecute somebody and arrest them doesn't fit with the agenda that you are trying to push, then you're going to you're not going to want to go with a cut and dry answer. And since the guy was dead, it'd be easy to kind of just put that guy out of the picture, right? And not have it questioned and not have it brought up anymore. But same with Kopaka, right? He's out of the picture. They swept that under the rug quickly. With Koberger, they could parade him in front of the public. They could look at how we found him. Look at Othram, Superstars Othram. There was just a speck of DNA, and they look like rock stars. And the track, you know, cell phone stuff, whether it's bullshit or not, it's still a narrative that they could push. So I think that I believe more and more now, as the further we've all discussed it, that there was already measures in place in that area for that type of stuff, and that house was somehow involved in that, which is another reason why they knocked the house down.
Yeah, and I to further go along that idea, I'm discovering new information that leads me to believe that the house had a drug connection, and that's a major part of the murders. And again, it leads to the thing of, we talked about this the other night. If there had been a 5-year or a 7-year investigation to try to bust drugs coming across the Mexican border involving cartels, movement of illegal fentanyl through the entire United States and through the university system, it would be a big operation. And if simply 4 kids getting murdered, it was going to ruin that entire investigation and somehow compromise an ongoing investigation, you're damn right they're probably going to lie about a lot of shit if they have to cover up a multi-jurisdictional investigation into a large drug operation. So it's not implausible to think that all the lies and fuckery were jeopardize a much bigger investigation that's been going on involving multiple agencies and big drugs, and they're not going to have that ruined for a simple murder hit that they can cover up and have you not look the right way.
We've talked about that before. It was a couple weeks back. That is it out of the realm to believe that the U.S. government would sacrifice 4 lives to save the integrity of an investigation they've dropped $3 or $4 million into, and maybe a year's worth of investigative time? No, it's not at all. They've done this. JJ, I guarantee JJ can tell. I guarantee. Not because he's CIA, folks, but because
I guarantee. Yeah, I can.
I knew
guarantee
that was
JJ
going to come out the
knows.
wrong way, but I know JJ has read about the things that they've done over the years, that, operations that they've been involved in, where this type of stuff happens, guys. And it's not that it's not that abnormal. It's horrible. It is very horrible, and it's very, it's not okay with any of us here, obviously, but this is something they've done for decades, you guys, and it's not that weird to say, "Oh my God, that would never happen," but it does, and it would. So, we've talked, like I said, we've talked about it kind of in depth before, and I think that's kind of where I've been leaning since we have talked about it. It sounds like Lee's really in that realm as well, and I can't jump out of that circle yet and say, "Hey, I don't think that's what this is." Because that's exactly where I think we're at this point, in my opinion.
I know JJ wants to answer something, so I should let him go first.
Ahead.
I have a follow-on with what you're saying, but JJ's been trying to jump in. So,
yeah, well, the scenario that I'm formulating in my head is that let's just hypothesize that the house itself was an operation, right? They were using that house because it was a big party house. And the people living there were deliberately living there for that reason. So maybe there were a few CIs, maybe they were all CIs, and that was the CI house because that was a hub in the area. And maybe it could have been as simple as somebody got busted at some point in that drug task force in the course of their operation. And they said, look, this is what we're going to do. We're not going to bust anybody here, but we're going to, what you guys are going to be working with us. That's one scenario. And the other is that house had been used for purposes for law enforcement, right? Let's just say,
Right.
if along with the whole idea of a CI getting killed, imagine if it got out that a house of college kids was being used to run operations for a multi-jurisdictional, multi-agency task force. And then shit went sideways and there were cops where you could throw a rock and hit the cops where they were because it's that close.
They were that close.
Yeah.
Then they're not going to be, they don't want it to get out of what the real shit was. So again, I'm just going to advocate my theory. You have a guy who's already somehow working with the funding, let's say, that was going on in that area, and you insert him. And, that's his role. I believe, think about history. What is the purpose of a patsy, whether they're unwitting patsies or witting patsies? It's to push a narrative. That is literally the reason why they come up with patsies. And if you have a scenario where the patsy is either MK Ultra'd or working with the organization, the agency, right? Because that's a whole other scenario, right? If you have that, then that's done to push a narrative. That's done for bigger picture stuff.
So I've got like 6 questions I've been queuing up because I keep seeing our mods keep pinning questions and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll answer that. Oh yeah, I'll answer that. And now I've got 6 things. I'll do something quickly and then so yes, I did confirm a while back ago. It's Maddie who had the 3 DNA mixture under her fingernails, not Xana. So I did want to clarify. I did confirm that. I just haven't found a good place in the conversation to clarify for you. So yes, that was true. I saw Jen component that, and that is I concur with that. But going along the lines again about the whole cover up and not jeopardize an investigation. Think about this: if you've got an investigation going into big amounts of drugs, there's going to be agents who are going to be undercover, embedded in those drug organizations as people who are part of that group, right? Who are undercover, working undercover, and their identities could be compromised. So how unrealistic is it? For example, I'm just going to give you a scenario. A drug dealer gets pissed off that somebody in the house is ratting to the police. Unbeknownst to the drug dealer and he sends a crew to go wipe out the house and send a message about snitches get stitches. And one of them is an undercover cop. And that undercover cop now is stuck in a thing. I either compromise my undercover investigation that I've been deep undercover in this group for a long time or whatever, or you go to the house, you don't participate in the murders, but you're like, fuck, like I'm in a shit store. They're like literally sending me as one of the guys to go to this house kind of thing. In that kind of situation, again, you would have the potential for them to want to protect their asset. If his identity has not been revealed, that he's law enforcement and he's there working deep undercover in the group, and he gets sent to the house as part of the hit, there could be an incentive to hide the real story about the killers because it's going to potentially reveal the identity of a undercover officer or something like that. So there's lots of scenarios in which this could happen.
One quick thing. Did anybody see Harsh's video today about the Freemasons?
No.
I started watching it, but I was in the middle of doing stuff. I was busy. I'm getting my summer wheels put on tomorrow. I had to clean out my garage. It was a mess, so I was busy. I started listening to it, but I'm going to listen to it. He opened it up talking about his thumbnail had Hunter Johnson on it. So I didn't get to listen to the whole video. So if I had to just take a crack at it and guess, he was implying that somebody in that area was connected to Freemasonry. And I'm reading a book about Freemasons right now, a pretty in-depth book. So the idea is what he was getting at in the beginning of his video, and if anybody in the chat has watched it, please chime in. He was implying that these are organizations just like the CIA, Skull and Bones, so on and so forth. We all know there's a million different versions of it, where secrecy, privacy and networking are critical, right, to those organizations. Mm-hmm. It's been going on for literally, hundreds and hundreds of years. So, this, to me, this kind of thing, the reason I think the way I do and I tend to look at big picture things is because they're very real. These are things that happen in the world. Just because the media doesn't talk about them, it doesn't mean that they're not out there and they don't happen. Right. And one of the things that has happened throughout history is governments have partnered with these secret societies, because when these secret societies have developed a lot of power and influence over many, 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 many years, then the power structure just partners with them, because rather than fight them, they join forces with them. It's very, very common. So if there was other shady shit going on, whether it be cartel related, if you guys out there in YouTube land don't think that law enforcement has connections within these organizations, you're crazy. I mean, for forever, mafia, those organizations, they would work with the FBI a lot of times. Yeah. Right? Like a lot of that stuff is real. It's not just a movie thing. It's like, they would work together on certain levels and help each other out in certain ways.
Real quick, I want to thank Moto Man again.
Yeah.
He said if it was drug related, I would investigate. Hunter J. Thank you. He probably ran into the house as fast as possible because he had stuff stashed. Maybe that's why he was always there. I mean, that's a possibility. And he did run over there. I believe it was 7 minutes ahead of the girls on their way there. Came in, did whatever he did, and was there ahead of them. And he claimed that he thought it was serious when the rest of the crew that was with him said they thought it was a joke. So what do you take from that? And again, thank you, Moto, for that. We're number 3 towards our goal tonight. You're amazing. Thank you, brother. Very appreciated.
Now, you know what's interesting with that, to add on to that, which was it supposed to be, which was the room that had like the broken cabinet? It was like a broken door on the cabinet.
Bethany's bedroom.
Bethany's
so
the spare bedroom was the first one in the front door to the right.
Right. So it looks like someone's like trying to rummage through and like, they're searching for something, but that's what it looks like to me.
That could have been what happened too. I mean, it was 3 years ago we talked about. Did somebody go in that house? Here was one of the theories after I started to think, could Ethan and Xana have been the first targets or the targets? Did somebody follow them home and go through that house looking for something, and when they didn't find it, flip out, and this is what ended up happening? Maybe, I don't know, but it is definitely a plausible situation if you think about that. So
yeah.
And DA E-Potty just posted something about that famous JFK speech.
Yeah.
You should play a clip from that, man. There's some people don't even realize how ubiquitous that stuff is and how far it goes back. It's a really famous speech. I know it well.
Right.
About secret societies, JFK, and this was not long before he was killed.
Yeah.
And now there's a lot of speculation as to, it was these people, it was the CIA, it was this, it was that. It was a multitude of things, because as I said, and anybody who knows about this stuff will agree with me, there's these powerful entities often work together. It's very, very common for that to happen. It happens today. I mean, people just look at what's going on in the world. It's happened for, hundreds of years.
Ever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Even, way back, way back.
Way back.
So I think that kind of stuff is important for people who maybe don't follow that kind of stuff, because that's my knowing what I do know is what shapes the way that I look at things. And that's why I would sound like a raving lunatic to people who don't know about this stuff, because they're like, what's this guy talking about? You're crazy.
I have that backstage, Lee. If you want it, you can have it.
The JFK thing?
Yeah.
Is it just the short version? Because I found only the long version. I found the quote. I could read the quote.
And JJ, along with that, wasn't he? Kennedy was
19 minutes.
He also was like,
that's the short one.
Trying to.
Sorry, one.
It was also talked, right? And I guess it also has to do with like kind of like secret society, keeping secrets. Wasn't he kind like they're saying that he was trying to push stuff about, he wanted like the UFO stuff to be public, and
yes, he did.
I've heard that. I don't know,
Yeah, see, whenever I hear about the UFO stuff, I kind of just roll my eyes, because there's books about the CIA where as far back as like the 50s, whenever they were going to overthrow a government or carrying out operations in a third world country, they would plant stories about aliens in the local news there to distract people. So I tend to believe that it's not a popular opinion that, and we could go into that another time. I think that it's very much, that's just a distraction that's been used forever.
Real quick, I wanted to, I don't know if you want to play 19 minutes or not of JFK's speech. I do have a quote from it. And so I was going to add that. This is from the JFK speech you're talking about. The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society, and we are a people inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths and secret proceedings, which is funny because that's all we do now is secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweigh the dangers which are cited to justify it. Which again, we are now moving more and more towards gag orders where nobody gets to see the actual facts, nobody gets to see the things, and people like, you know, JFK was like, this secrecy shit is repugnant to a free and open society. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. So that's part of the famous quote from JFK.
And he said something in there too, Lee, that I think you'll find everybody in here within the true crime community will find interesting. It was another small quote, but this was in the 60s. Understand this, folks, and not without internet, any of the things that we have now back then. And listen to this real quick. But I am asking the members of the newspaper profession in the industry in this country, media, okay, to re-examine their own responsibilities to consider the degree and the nature of the present danger and to head the duty of self-restraint, which that danger imposes upon us all. Let that sink in for a minute. That, to me, in the 60s, says a whole lot, you guys. A whole lot. Look where we're at right now with media, and obviously not the newspapers per se, but, you know, the media, mainstream media, legacy media, whatever you want to call it, all of that, and that statement back then as compared to now blows me away, is all I'm saying. So.
Yeah. And again, so what is the relevance of that in this case? Well, the relevance is if there was bigger operations going on that they don't want people to know about, they're going to do whatever they have to do to keep that from being revealed. And that includes lying to the government is allowed to lie to the public. All they have to do is say it's national security. And they're allowed to lie to the public.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Lucy, of course, Lucy Morningstar. Yeah. I mean, it's gotten so bad that we're at a point in history where people are awakening. There's a big segment of the population that is hip to all this stuff now. Right. So that's why, in my opinion, they're speeding up the fuckery so much and accelerating it because they want to accelerate it as far as possible while this critical mass of people are waking up to it.
While they're still trying to control it, JJ.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's I think it's at a level where they know they could control it all if they chose to go to the extreme that they would have to go to control it, in my opinion. And they could definitely do that at any day they wanted to. I think they're avoiding that, though, because they know that, and this is my opinion. I'm not going political, folks. I'm just giving you a statement that I fully believe in. If they take it to the level of extremeness that they would need to control, there's going to be a rebellion, period. This is when the people would stand up and say, okay, that's enough. We're done. You don't get to go there now. And that is what they're avoiding, in my opinion.
Well, while all this is going on, right, all these different cases, high profile cases, while all the stuff we see on the news is happening, if you follow people like Whitney Webb, which I think is a must for anybody, if you want to know somebody that really does the research, while all this shit's happening on the surface, they're making moves. It's out there. I mean, it's happening. It's verified. The power brokers in the world are making very dramatic moves to implement things that most of the public is not even aware is happening. Because why? Because they watch the mainstream media, and guess who controls the mainstream media? The same entities that are pushing these agendas.
Right.
So I always say it, distraction. Remember, they put things out a lot of times, and the way they do it and the way they time what they release is very strategic, because they know it's very effective as a means to distract people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good point.
Well
Good
said.
point.
Yeah, Microdot put up a comment that, this is the stuff that a lot of our parents talked about. I mean, my mom, she was way ahead of her time.
Yeah.
With a lot of this stuff, and now here I sit, and Microdot's right. We're like turning into our parents with a lot of it, but it's true.
And the sad thing with that, Robin, that is true. The sad part to that, though, is like only some of us are teaching our children to look out
True.
for this and to what to be prepared for, and then the rest of I'll say 50% of us are teaching and warning and all that. The rest of these parents, they're not doing it. Then that's what I'm worried about. That's what I'm worried about with our kids and our grandkids. What what it's going to be like at that point. Them not understanding and realizing what this world's going to be like. That's what I worry about. So,
right.
Yep. Yeah, and I apologize if it sounds like I took it on a too much of a side tangent, but I think that in relation to Harsh talking about Freemasons, don't dismiss things like that so quickly, because the powerful people and the power structure it's in everything. Mm-hmm. Every level of society, it's there. It's permeated everything. Just because you don't know about it, and you may not know a lot about the specifics of things like that, doesn't mean things are not happening. It's just you just haven't tapped into that yet. There's whole worlds of knowledge that a lot of people haven't really discovered yet. So it sounds crazy to them because they just haven't been exposed to it.
Right. And you can't negate it, JJ, because there's another case we looked at, you guys, that very conveniently, and if you don't know what you're looking for or you have no clue what it's all about, you're not going to see or understand it. Like in the Delphi case, one of the people that I had on my list, okay, that the guy that was teasing and taunting people via his Facebook account, so on and so forth, was in the that local Mason's lodge with the lead prosecutor of the damn case together. Okay, accepting, giving each other awards for different things or whatever they do in there. No disrespect intended, but if that doesn't tell you something, this is one of the people that are in a lot of people's eyes, one of the main suspects in this case, and he's standing with the lead prosecutor of the case together. Come on. Like, you can't say, oh, that's just a coincidence, Dago. Relax. Okay.
Yeah.
Trust me, bro. I got you. Right.
Yep.
There's a lot of weird coincidences in this case.
I just don't see them that way anymore, you guys. And I know we've talked about it, Lee. Like, there's no way in hell, you guys, if we laid these coincidences out on a table, okay, you would need to line 3 or 4 tables up because there's so many. And I've never seen, ever in my life, this many coincidences in one case, let alone, okay, it's not possible to me. It's not possible.
That's crazy.
Right. Forget about it. Exactly, Kenny.
The Paisley's post says, have you seen where Ford has filed a patent to lip read while in your vehicle?
Hell no.
What?
Hell
I'm glad I don't have a Ford.
Here's the thing with that, Robin, but do you think that's them doing it and telling us about it? Do you think it is plausible that they've been doing this, honest to God and truly? You know what I mean?
Not in my vehicle.
I have
a 2007.
Not in the vehicles per se, but I hate jumping down rabbit holes. But at this point, I don't really negate the fact that it's possible. Our TVs, I was told 20 years ago that the new flat, like, oh my God, get out of here. You're insane, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, nowadays, what are you going to say? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, think about it, guys. There's over the time, this is my theory about it. I think what's happened, the power structure has always infiltrated high levels of business and government, right? That's nothing new. Wouldn't you? I mean, if you wanted to get more power and control, you would push people along into positions that would help your agendas, right? That's what lobbyists do. That's who gets
Yeah.
people elected and so on and so forth. So I think what's happened is that has that and outside influence and money influence with Citizens United and things like that has it's grown. So over the years, it's gotten worse and worse and worse because it's spread more and more and more. And now it's at the point where the agendas of outside influence have superseded doing anything that's actually for the betterment of citizens. And the reason why all the surveillance tech is going into place is because, and AI to manipulate information, fifth generational warfare is where we're at. And that's a war of information and technology. They know that the vast majority of people, when they find out what's actually going on, is going to be against it. So what do? You put things in place and technologies in place to track everybody, to surveil everybody constantly. I mean, anybody who's read history books, this is how totalitarianism spreads, right? Because they want to know if there are people organizing behind the scenes that oppose these agendas and policies that are going to be coming down the line. So that is why there's so much push for surveillance. You think they really care about crime? Do you think elites give a shit? They don't care. They live in gated communities with private security. They are not worried about crime. Believe me, they don't live in high crime areas. They're doing it because they want to have more and more control over citizens. Plain and simple. You're muted, DA.
You're muted, DA.
Let's go down the conspiracy rabbit hole for a minute and talk about that Ford. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
No. Do your thing, because then I'll do it right after. It's about the statement Kenny made.
Oh, hopefully you won't get lost in this because this could be a little lengthy. Do you want to do yours
it's all
first?
good.
Okay. So the Ford Motor Company, if you look into this real quick, and I want to share this with you on screen because it's pretty interesting. So I asked ChatGPT if Ford has filed a patent for lip reading. Yes, Ford Motor Company has filed a patent for lip reading. The design is supposed to be for noisy environments. When you give commands to your car and it can't understand the commands, it'll switch to lip reading mode to help interpret what your command is. It's supposed to be not being used for surveillance of your conversations, technically. The recent patent is an interior camera sensor that will track lip movement and translate your movements into commands. And then it says it's not described as recording your conversations for storage, not to identify you biometrically, and not meant to interpret your commands or to monitor everything you say. However, it does have that capability. It says Ford has said that they don't actually plan to deploy the technology. So you filed a patent for it, but we're not going to use it. Trust us.
Oh my God.
And here's the last thing I'm going to say about this. It's a classic thing. Everyone in America, this is my side tangent, and I hope you remember your point with this office. Everyone in America has gotten used to signing 80-page user agreements in mice type that you just sign because you want the car. So if they have something in that thing that says, hey, by the way, we have lip reading technology in the car and we'll, save it to the cloud to be able to analyze and interpret and make our systems better, which I guarantee you almost every single one of those little mice type things says that thing. You are being recorded and served on their things, and you don't know it because you want the car. And you're at the office signing 60 million pages to buy your car, one of which is, well, you didn't read on page 637 of your mice type print, sir, that we're recording your conversations and storing it to the cloud for analyzing and helping our systems become better at lip reading. So yeah. We've gotten used to in America signing contracts and putting our name on something that we have no idea what we're signing.
That's just like them saying, so we have this motor that can go from 0 to 60 in 1.3 seconds, but we're not going to use it, guys. We have no reason to. No, we don't need that. We're not going to use it. Give me a fucking break. Anyway, that's insane. Absolutely, I agree with you on that, Lee.
Guys, one of the things that's happened, and it's become more visible in the last several years with the Twitter files and Facebook, people finding out the government had backdoor access to Facebook to censor people. Private companies cannot, they're not held to the standard of the Constitution, right? So what happens? Governments use private companies to infringe on rights. That has become the norm. Why do you think all these tech bros are best buddies all of a sudden with the Trump administration when they were vehemently against him in the past?
Thank you.
Because they do deals, and then the government can use those companies like Palantir, which was a CIA contractor initially, Oracle, which was a CIA contractor originally. Facebook was originally funded by the CIA's funding arm, which is Incutel. I believe I'm almost positive Facebook was. And all these other giant, Google, all these organizations, they use these quote unquote private companies because they can violate your rights. And then, because it's what does big tech have as a major advantage? They can do shit behind the scenes that you can't see, and they could just say, "No, we're not censoring you. No, we're not violating your First Amendment rights." They are, and it's because they're a proxy for the power brokers and the governments that want to do that, and they use your employer. Okay, you can go to work. And they can tell you, you can't talk about X, Y, and Z at work. It's happening. It's happened at my job.
Yeah.
You can't talk about these things at work. So, and then what, you can't do anything about it because, it's a private company. You know, we don't have to adhere to the First Amendment. So these agendas they're using organizations to push these bigger agendas. And everybody put your thinking caps on. Think about what happened in spring of 2020 from then on. They were using people's employers to push things. So this is part of the problem. This is what is flawed with our system. I don't think anybody should be allowed to violate the Constitution on any level, whether it's what the fuck is the point of having a Constitution?
Exactly.
If a private company can violate it,
right?
Especially when they're
and that's the worst possible aspect of it too, JJ. A private company stepping into something that is government based for all of us to be able to step in and say, well, you know what, we're special, we're a private company, we can do what we want. Bullshit. That's one of the major problems. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. I mean, it's just this is the times when I get fired up, is because I've seen so much fucked up shit happen, and I know so many people who are completely oblivious to it. And I think that bothers me more than the fucked up shit that's happening.
Right.
Because it's like you watch it and it's stuff because people don't know, and you try to explain to them what's going on, and they're like, huh? What are you talking about?
They're like, no, they can't do that. I'm like, bullshit. They are, and they have, and they will, and they do.
Those are the same exact people, you guys, that look at everything we say and say, oh, you're fucking crazy. This is that. Yeah, Brian Koberger did this. I don't care what you say. The police said he did it. The government said he did it. That's where it's at. Nothing else. Sit down and shut up. There's nothing here. You're insane. They're the same people because they fear anything that isn't the norm. They fear, I don't know if it's a consequence they're afraid of from authoritative people or whatever it is. They don't like change. They don't like to see that not everything is black and white like it's supposed to be. There's those in between colors is where everything lies. Truly and honestly, that's what I see.
Yeah.
And I hope we're not getting off on too much of a side tangent, but to JJ's points, like a lot of states are at what they call at-will states, meaning your employment right is at will on both parts. They can get rid of you for any reason they want. And so they use that kind of at-will state thing to do exactly what JJ said, which is that we're going to ask you to do something that violates somebody's rights. But hey, you know what? We can terminate you for any reason whatsoever. So if you don't go along with our new protocol, which might be fundamentally constitutionally unallowed, you know what? I don't have to have an excuse to terminate you. It's an at-will state. Your employment here is if I want you or not. It gets a little gray because if they get rid of you just because they decided they don't like your color of the skin, they would have a different constitutional issue on their hand. But the point being is they try to get around the whole, it's an at-will state, so we can get rid of you for any reason you want. And we just made a policy, maybe a policy that's not constitutionally correct, but it's our policy, and I can get rid of you for any reason I want.
They find reasons. You are correct.
Yeah.
And you know, I believe that the reason why those laws are allowed, it has a lot to do with lobbying, right? These different what's the word I'm looking for? Yes, I know what Five Eyes is, EPOTI, CIA, Mossad, MI6. Off the top of my head, I can't remember the other two. It'll come to me. I think Brazil might be in on that too. Anyway, I digress. But there, these different industries, right? It benefits them to have that ability to just terminate people for any reason whatsoever. That to me is unconstitutional, right? Because that's discrimination. They could just decide that, you know, Joe doesn't go along with like some of our crazy ideas, so we don't need to give him any real reason. We're just going to terminate him. And I think that this is shit that used to be talked about in decades ago, but it's gotten so much worse than that.
Yes.
Look, I'm going to talk about this stuff very, very soon. My first video is coming out. There are things happening in the world right now that 95%, probably 99% of people don't even know it's happening. And it's literally things that any person can go online if they knew the questions to ask and get 100% confirmation, irrefutable confirmation that they're happening. And it's way worse than what anybody can even imagine. And when I've tried to tell people about it and they just, oh yeah, whatever. It's just crazy. I wish I didn't know about some of it, to be honest with you.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And so if you don't think the government would blatantly lie to the public about a quadruple homicide and who's really guilty and who's really behind it and what was really going on, there's things happening right now everywhere in the world that are 1,000 times worse than that.
Yeah.
God, yeah.
Yeah. And that part of it is in the Bronx.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like this is the last I'll say about it. You hear me say it's 1,000 times worse, and some people know about it, and some people are like, well, yeah, it's probably really bad shit. It's worse than that. It's the worst things that you could even imagine happening to citizens, and it's happening right now all around the world. So if people want to like understand why I think the way that I do, it's because I know what these people are capable of. And anybody who's done the reading and the research knows it too. And I know some people in the chat know. And so I'm not going to talk about it specifically on here because I don't want to, get anybody else in trouble. But this is, if people that can't grasp the idea of people in positions of law and authority doing really nefarious shit, then you're not paying attention to the world. And, just keep in mind, everybody, the government is not the government, and that goes for all government proxies. That includes the mainstream media. They are a government proxy. They are not obligated to tell you the truth. I'm being literal. They are not obligated to tell you the truth.
And they don't.
No.
They absolutely don't. I mean, look at the Idaho 4, just all the inconsistencies that are in the documents themselves that are supposed to be official court documents, and some of the the officers' reports back and forth don't match up, and things like that. I mean, these are supposed to
Oh, it's
be
horrible.
officials,
Yeah.
right? Or they don't take a report at all.
Right.
You
It's
know,
horrible. Right.
yeah,
It's
Yeah.
it's
Go ahead.
just I was just gonna say it's just a smaller version of what the big picture
yeah,
is in the world. Period. Like
yeah,
for
Yeah.
instance, they tell us that the government makes these decisions. They do this, they do that. Our president does this, this, and that. That's great. That's fine. That's what we're shown. Just like with this case, guys, we see this, this, and that. But what's truly going on? Who's actually running? Everybody knows that the world is run by the Kennedys, the Bushes, the Bransons, Schwartzmans, Ackmans, the Walton families. All these big. I think there's like 13 power families that run the world. Period.
right,
That's who runs
yeah,
our government. Period. We just have, what do you call it? Figureheads sitting up there to make it look good. Well, in this case, it's the same thing, in my opinion. They have these people put in place to look good, to look like the figureheads of the case. In the background, there's something else
Oh,
going on
yeah.
completely different. It's the same damn thing, in my
So,
opinion. So,
I hope.
yeah.
I know we go off.
Sorry.
It's Friday night. We could go off on side tangents.
I-
What, JJ? Are you gonna cover anything about the population control and our good
Yeah.
buddy our good buddy Bill Gates? Who? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
amazing.
That's a big one. That's
Yeah.
a big
the
one.
5G stuff. How about all that?
Well, here's the thing. It's one of the. I understand. I have a lot of friends and family that are quote unquote normies. I totally get it. People are working. They're trying to make money. They're raising their kids. They're planning their next vacation, their next car they're going to buy, whatever. They're making a lot of money. I was in a relationship with somebody that was an executive at a major bank, a global bank. And they were oblivious to the things. When I told them some things, not even that controversial things, I had to send them information to show them what I was talking about. Most people are not. They don't care.
They
I
don't
know it
wanna
sounds
know.
crazy. They don't want to know.
No, they don't.
Right.
Imagine,
Hey-
think about this. You're a regular person in the world. You work. We all work. We all do our thing. And somebody tells you, oh, by the way, there's a group of powerful elites that have literally been saying it openly for decades that they want to reduce the world's population.
Mhm.
And oh, by the way, look at all these things, these different technologies that have come to pass and are being used. The cognitive dissonance is too much for your average person to be able to wrap their head around that. It's crazy. That's crazy. But this is shit they have been talking about it for decades.
Yeah.
And like, you guys remember the Georgia Guidestones
Oh yeah.
that got destroyed? I mean,
Yep.
what was it, Dago? Does any of you guys know? It was like, what, 300 million people they wanted to reduce the world's population to?
330 some odd million, I believe it was, or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exact number, right?
And so there has been this quote unquote conspiracy theory that's been around forever. But yet, look at what has happened in the last 6 years alone.
Mhm.
Look at what technologies have been deployed that are really happening. Verifiable, irrefutable, are happening. Bill Gates, do you guys want to know why Bill Gates got into public health?
Surprise.
Because he was being investigated for antitrust laws violations. And all of a sudden, he transitioned to this philanthropist. Bill Gates has never done anything in the history of his existence to benefit anybody but Bill Gates.
Yeah.
And then we got new vaccines that came out, JJ.
Yeah, he had millions invested in that stuff.
Mhm.
It's the government. I shudder when I think that people actually believe the government cares about your well-being. The fact that anybody could even have that thought in their head that the government and big business could care about your well-being boggles my mind. Read the book, The Corporation. It's a tiny little book. You can
Yeah.
read it in 2 days. Read that book. It's
Yeah.
a
Well,
business book,
It's
and
what
it
you
talks
said.
about the
Well,
origins
JJ,
of
just wanted to say,
corporations.
like you said, it's like some people, maybe it's not that they don't care, but they don't care enough to investigate or question.
Well,
So
yeah.
I can't tell you how many people I know that they think Bill Gates is like the most amazing person, that he donates all this money to good fun, he helps people and does, he's a great person.
Yeah.
Yeah, he sure
It's
is to himself. You know,
yeah.
he's a great person to himself and the people that believe in what he believes in. But
Yeah.
this is all. Did you say The Corporation, JJ? Is that book about the Cubans and the mob?
No, the corporation. It's called the one that I'm speaking of. It's literally about corporations. And
Oh, okay,
this book came out in 2004, and it
gotcha.
talks about ESG, right?
Oh, okay,
The
yeah,
origins of ESG, and how
gotcha.
all that stuff really got started and why. And
Right.
and so Bill Gates. I'll just say this, and I'm not going to get very deep into it, but everybody knows that he had all this, his hands in Africa because he's such a
Oh
philanthropist.
yeah.
He wants
Right.
to help Africa.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? They can test pharmaceuticals on people in Africa without them
Yeah.
And
knowing
they
it.
do.
Right.
Yep.
So Bill Gates, look into it. If you doubt me, anybody out there, look into the things that he's been involved in. That's
Bingo.
all
Oh,
you have to do.
he's off the charts. He's off the
He is,
charts.
you know what? I'm going to say it. In my opinion, I'm being dead serious. I think he's the single worst human being that's ever
Yeah.
lived on planet Earth in the history of human civilization. I mean that. I think Bill Gates is the single worst human being that's ever lived in the history of humans. And if look into it, just research it, and you'll see a lot of things about him that will be hard to believe.
Oh, well,
Absolutely.
he's another fellow character that showed up on Epstein's doorstep. So
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
not to get into Epstein, but he did.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
like there's a
it was allegedly because of his association with Epstein that him and his wife Melinda got divorced, and in
Uh-huh.
part because of that. But that's
Yeah.
a story for another day. I
Well,
think.
DA, are you okay with talking about the Epstein situation?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know how up to date people are. Do people know what the real theories are according to not me, like Whitney Webb and other very, very, very thorough researchers? He did the story is all right. So, oh, did he work for Mossad? Did he work for the CIA? The people who really know about this stuff will tell you he was above them.
Right.
He
Yeah. They
worked
worked for him. Right.
He worked for the world elites.
Right.
And I'm not going to name the family. We all know who they are.
I think
It
I
starts
named him
with
a
an
little bit
R.
ago. I named him a little bit ago, right?
Yeah. That's who he worked for. Everybody works for them.
Yeah,
It's
everybody.
really true. I used to hear it and hear it and hear it for many, many, many years. I'm like, whatever. That's who it is. So he wasn't, he was the guy who moved the chess pieces around for the global elites because they don't do it themselves. They have people that do that for them. So all the stuff we know about, it was he was a puppet basically, but he was a very high up puppet. So that's something I think people really want to go deep, start looking into that, because
Well,
the more you learn, the more it gets revealed.
real quick before to add to that, Lucy just made the statement of the night, in my opinion, based on what we've been talking about. That right there, that people need to understand that Green's entire career was
Mhm.
it's bingo. That's 100% who Scott Green is. period. He's in that circle any which way he can be. And I would not be surprised to see his name in the Epstein files somewhere, folks. I'm telling you, when we looked back into him, holy shit. I'm serious. Like, this dude had his hand in everything. So it still does.
Yep.
So think about that for a minute within this case. Okay. That type of power being involved in that within this case is just too much for me. So I didn't mean to jump sideways on what you were talking about, JJ. Just saying.
No.
That's huge right there.
But here's what I'll add to that. Look, for anybody who wants to learn, look into these two things. Is a lot more, but these two things. Look at where these politicians that come out of nowhere and they become senators and they become governors of certain states, particularly. There's three things I'll mention. Look at what industry they came from. I'll give you a hint. It has to do with money. Look at universities. Look at the presidents of universities and look at what industry they came from. It's the same industry. Look at the states that are having the most problems. You'll find those people. And you'll find one other thing in those states where big tech sets up shop. You will see two things in the states that are having the most problems. You'll see connections to the banking industry and big tech. And you'll see, and universities are exactly the same. People think, oh, the president of a university, academia. No, they come from the banking industry. And that is
where Scott came from too.
Yeah, I get, or a connection to it. I guaranteed. If they didn't directly work in the banking industry, they were in an industry that's connected to the banking industry.
Yes.
So look at that. This is what I talk about. Connect the dots and ask why. Look at the bigger picture, because that's why we've talked about on this stream many times. Universities have a lot of sway because there is major money connected to universities because they're all connected to the banking industry.
Very good point, sir.
Yeah,
Green is banking.
And in those small towns in particular, like Pullman, Washington, and Moscow, Idaho, the universities are everything. They're the lifeblood of those communities. Like those communities don't survive without the university. So the money flowing into the university is a huge thing. And this is why officers can be heard, for example, saying comments, boy, I hope this doesn't hurt. Just when enrollment was back up, now this shit happens kind of thing, because they're concerned about enrollment numbers because the entire city exists because the university exists. And so when something threatens again, we talk about reasons for cover up of Idaho 4. If the university itself becomes a place where nobody wants to send their kids because you've got a drug problem there and people getting murdered there and cartels are running drugs, if that was the case, they would do everything they can to protect the money and say, oh, fuck no. We can't let that get out into the public. You can't have people not sending their kids here because this will destroy the town. The whole town will fold because everybody's sending their kids somewhere else that doesn't have a drug problem or whatever.
And what better place to bury something like that in a town that I never heard of Moscow, Idaho, until this house. Never heard of them ever, you guys.
Nope.
It's a border town. I mean, it borders many different places, but it's in the middle of nowhere in farm town, old fashioned Idaho. Nobody's gonna know. None of us knew where Moscow, Idaho was, except for people that live around it, of course, until this happened. Nobody's gonna look there or think about that town or even think about those things in a small place like this. So it's perfect. So
and anybody who thinks that, this is why I always say I'm not political, because one of the biggest scams ever pulled on civilization in America is there's a right and there's a left and they're opposing each other. No, they are doing the bidding of much bigger interests. And how do you control a population? Number one, divide and conquer. Keep them distracted. There was have you guys ever heard of Academy of Ideas? The videos? Okay.
Yep.
A video that came out way before COVID. It's an older video that I saw. It's called it's based on mass psychosis, right? And I think there was two versions of the video I saw. One was called The Killing of the Mind, and the other one was just like mass psychosis. And it talks about, this is a very broad thing. Anybody who's read history knows this, how totalitarianism gets spread. And go watch that video, and you'll see that everything that's been happening in the last 6 years it's clear as day. They are going all out to push a totalitarian system with digital ID. The government's talking about it now. Using crypto as the new currency, and basically everything you do can be tracked. And this is this ties in with the predictive policing and domestic surveillance. These are totalitarian things that in the 90s, if you told people the government was trying to do that, the whole country would have united. But we've gotten so divided that, oh, those crazy people on this side are saying that this is going on. That's bullshit. That's the way they keep us from uniting. Because the population, you can manufacture consent for these policies if the people are divided.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Robin.
I threw that backstage. If you want to pop that up, there's a show them real quickly. That's exactly what it is. There's all sorts of this stuff in here. If you guys read through it, it's absolutely, it's very interesting. I'll just say the very least. Okay. All of these different variations of different videos in here. There's a lot to it, truly and honestly, but it's very interesting.
This is a YouTube channel.
Yeah. And once you start going through it, good luck getting out of it, because it just will enthrall. It completely enthralled me. I sat here for 6 hours one day just going through and watching and reviewing, and I'm like, oh my God. It's wild. It's
very
wild.
good too. I like their videos. Are really cool.
Very interesting stuff. Like I said, 6 hours, folks. I sat here and went, I couldn't stop. My wife's calling me. I'm like, I'm busy. Sorry, I can't move. It was crazy. So
yeah, because one of those things, once you see it, you can't unsee it. You know.
It's you can just go to YouTube and type in Academy of Ideas, and it'll say "Free Minds for a Free Society," and start reading some of it. It's really wild. Really wild.
You can tell it's a Friday night.
Oh yeah, we're all over the place. It's interesting. I think it's interesting though. I'm grateful for when JJ brings up these topics, because they're very interesting to talk about, and it allows us to open our minds a little bit deeper than what we do at times. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and we're all smart people. We're all capable of seeing the connections, right? Anybody who's a free thinker who likes to dig into things, right? That doesn't mean you're a conspiracy theorist. What it is some people have better pattern recognition than others. It's just a natural differences among people. Some people recognize patterns, and I wish I wasn't that way sometimes, but I am, and I can see connections between things. Doesn't mean I'm always correct, but there are connections. You can see connections between things.
Oh my God, yeah. There's even a video on that thing in there, you guys, based on a lot of what we talked about. It's called, it's only, I think it's 12 minutes and 46 seconds or something like that. I think. It's called Compliance and Conformity. I remember watching that one. And the basis of it is, why are people so obedient? Compliance and conformity. Yeah. Wow. I mean, it hits every point on this, guys, and it's factual stuff. You see it, you'll go, oh my God, absolutely. There's a lot of that stuff in there, and it's just what reality is to us. So, very interesting. Why is technology enslaving us? Think about it. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. It's wild to me. How the points they hit are such a big deal. So,
it's a great channel. It's phenomenal, and it's educational, because they're not telling you what to think. They're just presenting you with ideas, right? And so
that's why I like it. That is exactly why I like it, JJ.
Yeah, somebody asked, how do we change things? Well, for starters, the way you change things is don't buy into, look at what people and organizations and the government the power structure, what they're trying to make you think, right? They're trying to make you believe things, and they shun those who don't go along with it. It's the oldest trick in the book, right? So stop buying into that. That's the first step.
Yeah, think for
Stop
yourself.
buying into it. That's the first, in my opinion, that's the first step. We're not overthrowing the government, right? That's not happening. But you can, in my opinion, the only way, in my opinion, effectively to stop the direction we're going is if people on the right and the left realize we're being played, right?
Yeah.
We're never going to agree on a lot of things. And these hot button things that they keep throwing out to the public are used to keep us fighting. And I long ago,
absolutely.
I noticed it, and I used to talk to people about it. They're just trying to divide us. And that is the reason why they do it, is because that is the single most effective way to control people, to keep them fighting amongst each other.
Bingo.
And that goes along with, you know, not to go into a whole big thing, but the Kurt Cobain and these people in music, because what is it about music? Like, it doesn't matter Democrat, Republic,
it brings everybody together.
It unites people. And when
Right.
you have that power, if you become to that level where that many people feel something from your music, that power, it means something. And the government gets, or whatever, government or people, whatever, the elites, they get very afraid of that.
It's okay to have your own mind, you guys. That's the biggest thing. Is a lot of people, like we said earlier, they have that fear of oh my God, if I don't think what my government wants me to think, if I don't think what I see is, the police arrested this person, it has to be right. Why? Why can't you think your own way about it? Why can't you make your own decision? That's the problem right there. Make your own decision based on what you see, not because you think you're supposed to. There's the problem right there. We do what we do because we think we're supposed to do it that way. Sarge, who was a big part of my channel, has said this forever. This is how we're programmed from the moment we're born, period. It's just how it is. So, you have to be able to open your eyes and go, you know what? What if I want to see this? And then, like JJ said, anytime we say, hey, I'm not comfortable with that. Can I see it this way? Oh, no. You're an asshole. You're a band. Get away. That's what happens. So it's not a good thing, folks. We have our own minds for a reason. We can use them.
And to Andrea Smith's comment, she said, well, true, but we can't just let chaos ensue. If people were more united, there would be exponentially less chaos, because they need that to carry out the chaos. They need a divided population to get away with it. They fear a united citizenry. They fear it. So what do they throw up all the time? Abortion, gun rights, immigration, and economics, right? The economy. Those are four of the big ones. There are many others we could all talk about.
Right.
So they keep us fighting about those.
Healthcare is a big one. Yeah.
Healthcare, right. And economics. They use those. They use those to keep us divided. Right. And I read a research study when I was in college about politics. And I took a class in college called Conflict and Violence, taught by a retired FBI agent. And this is what we talked about. This very type of thing. Why these conflicts go on for decades and decades and decades. And we would dig into this shit. And the thing is, I can go into way more detail on my channel, because this is exactly the type of shit that I'm going to talk about. But the first step is be aware of what's going on. The second step is to ignore them. If you see the news trying to, I stopped watching any content creators that pushed the right versus left bullshit. I just stopped following them. I stopped listening to them, because they're paid shills. They're paid to do that. They're paid a lot of money to do that. And that's why they have such big followings, because their algorithms are manipulated because they want to spread that divisive narrative out to the public. So they get the behind the scenes shit to
and that's
push
where you
them.
have to start teaching your children, go back to basics in order to teach them to use critical thinking skills.
Bingo.
So you have to start, it used to be when we were young, we were taught how to use critical thinking in order to sort out bullshit. But now, we're not teaching that in schools anymore. Hell, most of the schools, I mean, here in Pennsylvania, it took frickin' the governor to sign in the law that all children have to know fucking cursive. Now, come on, you have to have a law. I mean, what does that tell you right there? Because most kids today think it's some kind of a secret ancient language,
Right.
and they have no idea how if they couldn't stand in front of the Constitution and read it because they can't read cursive. Now, what does that tell you? That is a sad state of affairs when our kids can't even read that. That's just a small thing. So we have to start teaching our kids that it's okay to question things. It's okay to have questions about things that you find strange, or you're curious about something, or whatever. So it all starts with younger people. Teach them it's okay to have a mind of their own.
That's it too. That's a good point you bring up, Robin.
Jen, I do want to just jump in quick. We have a gift from Jen. Thank you very much, Jen. Yes, we certainly are running the gamut tonight. So
somebody had a pinned comment. I was trying to comment. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead and address that. Oh,
is that from you guys or me?
That was on our channel.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you. And here's the lightsaber. Yes. Thank you, Jen.
There we go. That's the comment I was looking for. I couldn't even find it. I was trying to comment on it and I couldn't even find it. This is an important thing to keep in mind, because again, like here's the tough part. Like I don't want to restrict our conversations, and I know that we're getting onto some deep topics, and I've been told before, people don't come to the lives to get educated about world politics and how to but to bring it back a little bit, the question becomes, what do you do when we sit there and we see people that we believe are innocent sitting behind jail for crimes they didn't do, because the system is starting to fail us and doesn't give a shit anymore about the truth. They care about, getting conviction records or whatever. And we're hiding behind closing out transparency and making things all behind gag orders and passing new laws and celebrating the families for getting laws passed that said nobody's allowed to see anything that happens in a true crime case. Like, here's the thing. We're not going to solve the world's problems tonight. And you're right. Like for us, I feel like for me and my channel, we're focusing on that smaller version, which is how do we get this wrongful conviction overturned? How do we get somebody out of jail who's spending their life in jail? And yes, there's a much bigger picture. Like the world is a fucking mess. The world is a mess. But I just want to kind of bring us back for a moment to remind us as well that we can't solve all the world's problems. Yes, but like you guys are saying, you have to first educate yourself that that's a real thing, that's what they're doing out there to everyone. But we're not going to solve all the problems right at one point. And I don't know what you can. Yeah,
it's okay to know about it, though, Lee. Like you said, it's okay to know about it, folks. Don't feel guilty because you are interested in knowing about it. Because a lot of people have that. They have a guilt to it, like, oh my God, I can't. And unfortunately, it does lead back to political things in some aspects. Okay, but guess what? We're adults. It's the real world, and we have to be able to accept these things to say, okay, I do see this, and it is weird, and it doesn't make sense. But it's okay to feel that way. It doesn't make you a bad person, for Christ's sake. You know what I mean?
No, it's like it doesn't. Right. It doesn't make us bad people because we have questions in this case and Delphi and Charlie Kirk and whatever other cases. That doesn't make us bad people. It makes us smart because we're looking at these cases and we are questioning. Things are not right. And, especially for myself, I don't want myself or anybody else to be stuck in Brian Koberger's place or any other person, whether it's Richard Allen, Luigi Mangione, whatever, whoever, whether they're guilty, they're not, whatever, but they have rights, or they are supposed to have rights. We are all supposed to have rights. So these cases are important for bringing these kinds of things to light, and we have to take it seriously, and do what we can, even if it is just educating ourselves.
I want to piggyback on what you just said real quick, Robin. I want to piggyback on that. It starts with all of you, in the case of Brian Koberger, Richard Allen, even Luigi Mangione, whatever the case, to stop letting people shame you for asking questions.
Right.
Fuck the people who tell you that you should be ashamed for asking question. When the official narrative doesn't make sense, you're somehow victim shaming. Let those families be. Quit asking questions. Fucking mainstream media has failed us, and stand up, people. Stop letting people shame you for asking questions. That's where it starts.
Right.
It starts for you to finally say, it's okay for me to ask the question. What are you so afraid of? What are you so freaking afraid of that me saying, hey, wait a minute, I don't think this makes sense. How can one person, for example, kill 4 people on 2 floors in 4 minutes? That doesn't make sense. Don't let them shame you into asking that question. That's a fucking good question. Ask the question and don't let them shame you. That's
what it is. The only time it's not a good question is when you don't fucking ask it. If it's in your mind and it's in your questioning it, that's a problem, folks. That's a point to make. If you're thinking twice about something you're seeing or hearing, you damn well better question it, because it's your life as well. It's your right.
Yeah.
That's why we're here, guys.
And if the government wasn't corrupt, I say it all the time, corruption trickles down.
Bingo.
It trickles down. If you have massive amounts of corruption on the highest levels, it's going to trickle down. It can't not trickle down, because then nobody above that's supposed to be honoring the Constitution and people's constitutional rights and making sure that the people in charge are not just siphoning money away from the public and doing their actual jobs. If there's nobody above them paying attention to that because they've sold out, then things at the lower levels are going to be chaos, like people were saying in the chat earlier. So the big picture stuff matters, because I can tell you right now, if the public was more united, law enforcement, the federal government, corporations, just to name 3, would not be as emboldened to do whatever they want to do if the public was more united. But look at when it all started, guys. Look at the timeline. 2013. What happened in 2013? The media changed. Why? Why did every single thing become so divisive? Because of the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act. The government and their proxies are legally allowed to propagandize and lie to the public. You can trace it. Look back, think back to when the media, they were always full of shit. But look at how much it changed from 2013 on.
Yeah, now it's propaganda all day long.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It was a very distinctive change.
They also at the same time started to make the change where they admitted that they're no longer really news agencies, they're commentary agencies.
Yeah.
So and they'll admit to you, we're not the news, we're commentary. And they began to shape narratives. Yeah.
Right.
And that's quick, I just want to thank Kathy Ann.
I know I keep saying Kathy Ann, but Kathan.
I know. Thank you so much for the gift. We appreciate that so very much. Thank you.
Yeah, and it's funny because I want to take a moment to say that, because there's some people I know who are like, what the hell are you guys doing? You guys are off the rails. And other people are like, we needed this discussion. So I realize if it's one thing I've learned on YouTube over this last year is you never can please everybody. No matter what I literally have my phone blowing up with people to say, stop fucking talking about this. Stop talking about that. I've got people in the chat. I got people reaching out to me everywhere. You can never make everybody happy. And so I do want to say, for the gifter, thank you for letting you know that not everybody is as like, look, we're just not on the same page. Not everybody's on the same page. You can't please everybody. Sometimes you just have to kind of go off the rails sometimes.
And you know what, you guys, whether you guys like this or not, we're in the true crime genre. That's correct. But every bit of this relates to what we've just all spoken about. Okay.
Yeah.
It absolutely
Yeah.
does. And if you don't see that, that's part of the problem. And somebody up here said, I wanted to speak on or speak on this statement here. Where the hell did it go? I think it was Steppenwolf. By the way, I love your name. She says, "I'm afraid of the government, whoever runs all of us." That's what you're supposed to be. That's how it's
Yeah.
supposed to be. We're
That's what
supposed
they
to be.
want you to be.
We are supposed to be
Yeah.
afraid of the government, okay? Because of that.
Yeah.
And that's what part of the problem is. That's why everybody
Right.
doesn't
Now,
says, "Oh my God, I have this question, but I can't say anything because I'm afraid of what's going to happen." No.
yeah.
So
Now, I see it. I see a little bit in the chat, people going back and forth. Oh, it's the liberals' fault. It's the Republicans' fault. No, it's all of them. That's what we're trying to tell you
there's the
guys.
problem.
And it's not just any one administration. If you want to talk administrations, look into the Heritage Foundation, and that's a global thing. There's been people from other countries involved with the Heritage Foundation, and I'm not going to go into that real deep. So it's not just any one administration. That's what we're trying to tell you guys.
I want to elucidate on Kimberly's comment here a little bit. I know just like we could be here all night long, but this is a big thing. This is the big thing she said. The victim's family, people think the victim's families know all the details, and it's not true. And that's absolutely true. I believe, especially in the case of Idaho 4, that certain families were controlled and told a narrative that weren't true. And some families went along with it and kept quiet, and some families didn't. And it's clear there was control put on the families to go along with the program. And if you think the families actually know what happened any more than you do, I would argue they do not.
I don't think they do either.
I don't think they know at the end of the day what really happened either.
No. They might have. So they may have some more documents. Or
I don't even have that. I don't think one.
No, I do. They have. Well, they have Kaylee's autopsy report, so they have to.
I mean,
that's a big thing.
Yeah.
So they have some stuff that we haven't seen yet. But I mean, if you go by what Kaylee and what they said, is they weren't, given info on the other victims.
But part of the problem too with that, you guys, is what we just said. Like a lot of these, from what we've seen, they believe in what they're getting, what they're seeing, and then what they're told, because they want to, and that's the problem here. Go ahead, Lee.
Right, Dago, you're nailing my feeling. I want to get out, which is, look, I have sympathy for the families. I have sympathy for the victims. I absolutely do, but so I know if you say something to add it with a but, you just negated what you say. But period. I have sympathy for the families. Full stop. End. However, I want to point out, these people are not seeing as clearly as other people. They just lost family members. They themselves are emotionally damaged from the event. They may not be seeing as clearly as everyone else in America. So just keep that in mind when we say, well, you're victim shaming. They may not see it the same way because they're going through trauma you can't even comprehend, and that may bias them to not see the whole picture because they're stuck in a moment in time. The rest of us who don't have personal issues involved with this, we didn't lose a family member. We can look at it more objectively. I don't know that the families who lost a son or a daughter can look at it truly objectively because it's too personal for them. So maybe it takes some of us out here who would not have a dog in the fight to look more objectively at it.
And I've said that. I've said for 3 years, you guys, I've been telling, at least in my community, I've said, I don't believe that these families were able to grieve the way you should grieve the loss of a loved one, a child, Tibet, okay? Losing a child has got to be the worst possible thing in the world. It's got to be, okay? There's no doubt about it. I know people that have gone through this. They've talked about it. It's amazingly horrible. You can't grieve properly over something like that when you're in the middle of an investigation with it. That doesn't make it's not possible in my mind. Okay. I just don't see that. So I think that's a big part of what Lee was just saying. Like, they're not seeing this in a way that we're seeing it. Okay. We're not the ones. We may be upset about it. Okay. We are, or we wouldn't be sitting here. We're all upset. We're all brokenhearted that this happened. It's a horrific thing, and none of us want to see this happen. Okay. Not to mention the constitutional side of this, of all the stuff that's going on with Brian as well and all that. But we don't have a dog in that fight. They do. We just watch
Right.
it from the outside, and it's
Right,
a
and that's
whole
why-
different thing.
And that's why I would say to the families, I respect I respectfully want to say you may not be able to see this objectively like the rest of us can. And
Yeah.
while
Right.
I understand your grief, I totally understand your grief. Don't shit on everybody else for seeing it differently, because we don't
Thank
have
you.
the same emotional tie that you do, and we're looking at it from a different perspective. But
So
Right.
I wanted to
Bingo.
address a comment that someone you had it posted a little while ago. So someone had a comment asking why about Hitler. Did Hitler not see the 230 or whatever, video and hear the screams or whatever? This is the thing with Hitler. If you're going to go by, that he's not being controlled by some higher thing or whatever, and he's a judge on this thing, and he's going by what he wants to go by. Once he had in his mind that Brian's touch DNA was on this knife sheath, he didn't give a shit about anything else. He could care less.
No.
He was a third arm of the prosecution, and that's it. He didn't care. He didn't care about Ray.
The case
He
was
didn't
over.
care about
He heard
anything.
DNA. Yeah.
Right. Once he heard DNA, that's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Look, the whole thing about the surviving victims, right? I agree that with everybody about, I mean, we all know their testimony, and they're waiting over 8 hours to call 911 and everything, is that in and of itself is criminal. And the fact that they weren't pushed harder.
Yeah.
However, if you believe what I believe, and there was an operation involved, they were given a script, basically, what to say, in my opinion, because if that house was in fact part of an operation, that means they were told what to do. They were told what to say.
Yeah.
So if you separate that out and just look at it at face value, yes, they should have been investigated thoroughly, interrogated thoroughly, but they weren't. Why? Okay.
And I literally believe, I think it was Brent Turvey who was interviewed on the Sarge's show on a YouTube thing. He literally said law enforcement has threatened families before for not going along with the official narrative. They're like, if you keep going and talking about this and saying something that's against what we're saying, we'll start arresting you. We'll start, you're going to find yourself in jail. We're going to find, and so people have been intimidated to go along with the official police investigation or the prosecution's case, and to shut up about anything different, or they themselves will start getting arrested.
And again, in a sense, we said this the other day, Hitler in that private hearing with the Gonsalves family, saying to Steve, Steve, you need to shut your mouth. That's enough.
Right.
And Steve says,
we
I
just
don't
won't
think
have
I
a
can
hearing.
do that. Right.
Yeah.
And he goes, and well, if you can't do it, then there won't be a trial. Do you think it's going to bring her back to life, Steve? Like, you don't say that. And that's, in a sense,
That's crazy.
It's threatening. It's threatening the family, in my opinion. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And Dago, I
Ellen-
think if you were Dago, I think if you were to go down the conspiracy angle, I always hesitate to go too far down. But the whole comment about then we won't have a trial,
Yeah.
and followed by or preceded by the you can't bring Kaylee back. There's an argument to be made that someone's trying to persuade the families. It doesn't matter at this point whether or not it's true or not. You're not going to bring your child back. So you might as well go with the best case scenario, which is you can get a $500 million lawsuit against the university if you go with this. Like, at this point, it's like, look, you're not going to get your kid back. So what does it matter if it's the truth or not? Go for what's best for you at this moment, which might be a big lawsuit, might be whatever the case may be. You have to ask yourself, can that happen? But
that's really not going down the conspiracy rabbit hole, in my opinion, Lee. I mean, look at it for what it is. It's in our face. It happened. Okay.
Yeah.
And if you look at it for where, from the outside, I see it the exact same way you just said it. Why not?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, by just for clarification, a cover-up is by definition a conspiracy.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
It is when you conspire, when more than one
Right.
person come together,
right.
and
To conspire to mislead the public. Yeah.
right.
Mhm.
That's a cover-up is a conspiracy, right?
Right.
And the cover-up is undeniable in this case,
Right.
right?
Right.
The stories the public was told, the narratives that the public was told by the surviving roommates that were pushed by the mainstream were horseshit, right? So as far as the the Dylan and Bethany go, I don't look. I was on them and after them hard in the beginning. Like, how is this even happening that these
Right.
people aren't being questioned more and interrogated? What is going on here? This is insane. And the other people connected to the case that were, close to the victims. But if, as my beliefs in the case and my theories have evolved to what I believe it was, I think that they were being told what to say. And that's why they weren't pushed. That's why they weren't investigated. That's why their narrative was what the media went with, because there was a bigger operation involved. Now, maybe I saw somebody earlier in the chat say that there's an investigation still going on in the background. I said that a long time ago. I said, if Koberger's working for the feds, it's because they put him in there while they were doing a bunch of other bigger picture stuff. But we may never know that.
Right.
We may never know that. They have the ability to just take people out of prison. I mean, some of the Epstein theories, right?
Right.
So,
And
unless...
Lucy, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, man.
Well, Stefan will put that up there. I don't, Lee, did you want to say
Yeah,
it?
I did want to, first of all, thank you for the gift to thing. And yeah, that's horrible. But
Absolutely.
it's not
Yeah.
it's not shocking to me.
Not
unfortunately.
surprising.
No.
It used to be.
No.
It used to be
No.
shocking to me, but there is historical evidence that they will let CIs get away with literally murder in some cases in order to keep their
Yeah.
CI, not blow what they've got. I mean, again, they had a CI that was killing people of contract for the mafia, but he was working for the feds, and they continue to allow him to do illegal things, and he even helped frame an innocent man. That's in Judge Napolitano's book about how they used him on the Gambino family, I think it was. And so they would allow him to kill somebody and blame somebody for the murder that didn't do it, just so they can keep their CI.
And that's not the only place that happened at. All throughout organized crime, I did a lot of research on the mob and all that stuff, and it happened through it all, guys. Through it all, it's insane. I covered a case. It's been a little while, but anybody in here that follows me that was with the trying to think of the name of it. This woman's husband was a police officer, okay, and this woman was murdered because that's why I took the case. They called it a suicide. She was murdered, and it's believed that her husband did it. Okay, but one of his partners at the sheriff's department shows up at the house and finds her that way. Conveniently, he calls and says, "Hey, go check on her. I tried to call her. She didn't answer the phone. The door was unlocked. Conveniently, all of this stuff happened." And I've been covering this case in the background for a long time. It was not suicide. There's no way in hell. And this is a law enforcement official who committed this crime that's gotten away with it for 30 years. Okay. It happens day after day after day. This is another situation like this. And we're just supposed to, nobody looks at it like that. They look the other way and move forward. So I didn't mean to jump sideways again, but that just brought that back to mind.
I mean, and I really don't think we're ever going to get the truth in this case unless, like I say, a whistleblower comes forward. Because if it was a government operation, it's blanketed under national security, and they can conceal whatever they want, release whatever they want, release a bunch of breadcrumbs to keep people distracted.
Right. They just change the narrative to something else. Right.
Right. They could turn around in 6 months or 3 months or a year, and they could have another, post conviction relief, and Koberger could get out, but that doesn't mean he wasn't working for the feds. That's just they accomplished what they needed to accomplish, and then he moves on, and everybody forgets about it. He never writes a book. We never hear anything about it.
He just disappears. Right.
I mean, it's just, or he writes a book and he makes millions of dollars. But again, I don't believe when operations are involved, it usually takes decades before real information trickles out to the public, because
Right,
people become less
right.
afraid to
Everybody's
come
dead.
forward.
It was involved in the beginning of it. They're all dead.
Right. It's the same. Look, we'll wrap up pretty soon, but it's the same thing. The reason why I say everybody's retiring and moving out of Moscow. The reason why it takes time for the truth to come out is everybody who needs to bail ship. All the rats scurry off the ship before the shit goes down. Right. So it takes decades for the truth to come out, because everybody's got to protect their careers first and get retired and get protected so they don't lose their pension and they don't lose their whatever. And so once all that's done, then years from now, you get to have something come out like, "Oh shit! I wish you would have known that when it happened." But usually, it takes a while for everybody to get protected first.
Yeah, and real quick, if I can, Margaret, absolutely, the Ellen Greenberg case. That's an absolute perfect example. This woman supposedly stabbed herself however many times in the back of her head and her neck and everything else.
Yeah,
To take her own life. This is somebody who, the person, in my opinion, that committed the crime comes from money, and his family is money. They have money. They have those resources. They're connected to the important people. This is why this woman's parents cannot get a new trial for this, or a new, whatever you call it, for this, because there's no way in hell this woman stabbed herself in the back of her head and her neck 25 different times on the planet. It's not possible. Okay. This is what we're saying. And we're just supposed to go, okay, no problem. Thank you.
Right.
Okay.
yeah.
Again,
I trust you, boss.
if there's a message and theme for tonight, it's the don't let happen what Dago was talking about, for them to tell you that you can't talk about and ask questions. Ask questions.
That's right.
Keep your mind open. Don't let people tell you that you should be ashamed for asking questions. That's the part that pisses me off. Too many of us are being shamed for asking questions. Like somehow we're reprehensible people because we ask questions that don't add up, and that makes us disgusting. That bullshit needs to stop. Fight back. Don't let people talk to you that way and tell you that you should be ashamed of yourself because you asked questions. There's a difference between being disrespectful and being shitty to somebody and asking questions. We're not being shitty and disrespectful. We're asking questions.
All that means is that you, every damn one of you, are smart. You are the most intelligent people on the planet, in my opinion, because you ask those questions, guys. That's why I'm so super proud of this community. Because you guys are the smart people. You ask the great questions. You ask the hard questions. And it's okay that you do that. And more of you need to do that and stop being worried about what the repercussions are going to be. I don't care if somebody tells you you're dumb. They're stupid for thinking that.
Right.
Well,
right.
Whatever. Move on. Do your thing. If you don't believe it, fine. You don't have to. But we do. We see what we see. End of story.
Never let anybody dissuade you from questioning shit.
Yeah, correct. Absolutely. That's the thing. We all need to get better. And I haven't been great about it in my history of my life as well, but we all need to get better at giving less fucks what people think about us and just stand up for what you believe in. And that's not easy to do.
Yes.
Trust me. I've spent my life not necessarily standing up for what I believe in. Now I'm trying to be, I'm getting old, right? I'm getting crotchety. Get off my fucking lawn. I don't give a fuck what you think anymore. So anyways, let's go around the horn and close out for the night on a crazy Friday evening. We're going to go JJ, Dago, 1-1, Robin, and I'll close this out. What do you got for closing thoughts for the night, JJ?
All right. Thanks, DA, Robin, Dago, 1-1, Denizens, Meatballs, the awesome mods. Well, I think it's good to vent about the state of the world and the corruption, because you need to. People are being bombarded with fuckery day in and day out on every level. And you need to have a means by which you can vent and talk about this shit, because the power structure doesn't want us to. They want to keep people afraid to speak about controversial things. And that is why it's more important to talk about this stuff and make the connections to the bigger stuff from the smaller things that appear to be smaller and localized, to try to make the connections, if you can, to the bigger picture. And with that, my public service announcement: everybody, volunteer your DNA to Othram Labs, sign up for the digital ID and the central bank digital currency. Be a good citizen. It's for the greater good.
Thank you for your public service announcement, as always. Hopefully everybody understands sarcasm. I'm sure that they do. What do you got, Dago, for close?
Great show tonight. Great conversation. And I know it's a little sideways from where we go normally, you guys, but you know what? Every now and again, I think we need to do this. Okay. I think we need to be able to, like JJ said, you got to vent your feelings. We sit on this stuff day after day after day after day. We know that these things are part of what we look at every day. We know that these things, they sit in the back corner of the cases we cover, and we just stay away from it and avoid it and leave it alone every day because we know it can start problems. Well, we are adults again, folks. We are grown adults. We need to be able to deal with this stuff, okay? And come back to reality at some point and say, you know what? It's there. We see it. It's okay to talk about it. It's okay to have your own feelings and thoughts about it. It's okay to say, you know what? Fuck it. Let's have this conversation today, which we did. And we do this every now and again, and I think it's a great thing. So thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being part of this and being the smart and amazing and beautiful people that you are. I appreciate each and every one of you. I thank you again to our moderators for doing what you do. You guys are absolutely amazing. I swear to you, you truly are. Thank you again to JJ, 11, Miss Robin, and Lee. And thank you all for having me here. This is always an honor to be able to do this. Again, thank you to everybody in the background that's doing this. Rhonda, thank you for all you do. Mikey, Molly, and all the other people that we don't see in the chats and whatnot. Thank you so much for everything you do. We wouldn't be here without you. Don't forget, folks, tomorrow, 6 p.m., the Verdict Room Unfiltered. Miss Alana will be our guest over there, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'd love to see you all there. If you could be, I appreciate you very much. That being said, don't forget to love yourselves and love each other. And folks, don't change nothing. You truly are the beautiful people. Nothing but love. Good night.
All right. Thank you so much for that. And by the way, as an aside, you were thanking a bunch of your mods. Amanda, by the way, one of our mods, and Essie, of course, has been a mod, and Rhonda's a mod. We got a lot of mods on our side as well. But Amanda had queued up for me. I was asking questions about, hey, can you find this? She's one of those people, you know, Rogan does the whole, you know, hey, Jamie, pull this up for me or whatever. And you know, they get stuff for him. Amanda does that for me more than you guys realize. But unfortunately, when we have a topic, sometimes it goes off the rails and we're so far away from what I asked her to look up for. So that was tonight I had something that came up in the chat and we had it queued up, ready to go for the timestamp to play the video. And it never happened because we just never got back on the topic. But thank you, Amanda, for being there always. You're a wizard with the documents and with videos. Yes. Once again, you had my back. I'm sorry that you spent that time getting up for me, but I wanted to go with the flow, and the flow was going in a different direction. So maybe another night we'll pull that up. I've got it bookmarked now, so I won't have to ask you next time. But
we all appreciate you, Amanda.
And Amanda wants to see the sizzle reel on the close. So I will close with the sizzle reel. For those who didn't see at the beginning, we've redone our sizzle reel. It looks really beautiful. Robin should be very much commended for what she did. Dago, thank you for the song as well. So let's get one's thoughts, Robin's thoughts, and I'll be brief on the close, and we'll play the sizzle reel on the way out on a Friday night. So what do you got for closing thoughts?
All right. Excellent show. Amanda, I'm going to bust your balls, though, because I'm allowed to. Sorry, it's a Friday night. I'm going to bust your balls. Where's my judge quote saying Kopaka?
Oh yeah, she was gonna find that for yeah.
I have her where no, we love Amanda. She's great. Thanks to all the mods, all of you come here each and every night, part of the show, support, you know, Dago, support Crimes After Dark, Devil's Advocates. It's always nice, you know, when the show goes off the rails a little bit. You know, a lot of these topics kind of intertwine and, you know, tornado around each other. And as what was said a few times, the main thing is don't be afraid to use your critical thinking and ask questions. Never be afraid to ask questions. Never. So we love all of you guys. Before I do this movie quote, I am fully blaming my wife. So don't shoot me. It is a little spicy. But I guess it fits. I guess
it's Friday night.
I guess it will do for Friday night. So it is from the 2000s.
Okay.
I want to have a car that attracts a woman with shave down below. Well, that would be a Corvette or a Hummer. We'll try to help you out.
Coming to
there.
America.
Whoa.
A man yesterday told me if I buy a car, I must buy one with a pussy magnet. He means a car that
That sounds like Borat.
You got it.
What's
Yes,
up,
but
pussy
where do you
Borat?
keep this magnet?
Borat.
No, there's no magnet. It just means the vehicle. Women love the Hummers.
No.
Do this have a pussy magnet? No, this vehicle itself would be a magnet.
I
If
am
I
bored
give
at.
you a good price, will you please put a pussy magnet? Yeah, but there's no such thing in this country as an ass magnet.
That was a good one, Miss 1-1.
Oh man.
Well played. Well played.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh my
that
god.
was a good one. She said high five. I love it. That was great.
Wow. Thank you for
Oh,
thank you for
man.
that evening. That was amazing. All right.
That's a good Friday night.
How do you top that? You got top that one?
Yeah, I got nothing to top that.
Wow.
Nothing at all. Except to say thanks for everyone coming out. And if you're on the replay crew, we appreciate you just as much. Thank you to everyone who gave us some gifts tonight. We appreciate that very, very much, as always. And yeah, keep an open mind, folks. Keep asking those questions. Don't let people make you feel bad for asking them. It's like they always used to tell us way back when we were little kids. There's no such thing as a stupid question.
Yep.
So if that's really true, keep on asking those questions. We have every right to do that. So, and as soon as we stop doing it, that's, things are bad enough, but so let's keep on it. Let's keep our feet on the gas pedal, and just don't let up. So, but thank you guys so much, and I hope everyone has a wonderful evening.
All right, and I will be a little bit brief. We're going to play our sizzle reel. I'm going to put in our chat, by the way, the link to our Spotify playlist. We've got a Spotify playlist that has the songs for Crimes After Dark show and some of the cool shit we've done. So that link hopefully got posted. So check out the playlist. It has this song and many others. I'm going to put the panel on side with the picture of the video so that we could talk if you want while we do it, or just say goodnight or whatever. But everybody, thank you for coming to a Friday night. It was crazy. It was fun. It was wild. We'll do it again soon, and here you go. We'll play our sizzle reel on the way out.
Crimes after dark, close the night out right. Panel at the table.
I want that hat, by the way.
In that half-dead light. Miss Robin in the middle, calling every shot, directing and producing, till the story runs hot. 1-1 from the city, badge heavy on his chest, towing that law like a wicked chain, spitting facts. No
I love it.
Yeah, it's I want to see you start doing that with your car, one. I really. Yeah, this is a combo of AI and real.
I want a car with that lit up in the back.
Right?
We watch the threads ignite. JJ in the corner, state of the deep in his head. Which lies to toss and which ones to keep instead. Dago from the cafe says forget about it. Leans back, spins his thoughts like a blade cutting holes in the track. Lee at the front, head advocate, steady stare. Every word like a warning, every silence a dare. All of them leaning in, clock crawling, eyes bright. Every secret feels louder than the buzzing of the night. Crimes after dark, we close the night out right. Tear through the lies till the wrong sounds like a fight. All of the answers buried so deep.
Yeah, they go look at the
They're so distinguished with their gray hair.
You can bury it in paper, you can lock it in a file, but the truth bleeds through, drip by drip, tile by tile. We're dragging it to daylight, name by name, line by line. If you wrote it in the shadows, we'll read it out this time. Yeah. Crimes
Meanwhile,
after
Lee's
dark,
like,
we
"Will you
close
hurry it
the
up?"
night outright.
That's on point.
Till the road sounds like a fight. All of the answers buried so deep out of sight. We watch the threads unravel. We watch the threads ignite.
This almost looks like I have my own personal NYPD in my back pocket. That's not
Right,
true at all.
yeah.
That's not true at all. All right. Good night, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.